Out of the war in Ukraine, and we have breaking news this morning. Timothy Cardinal Dolan is on his way back to Poland from Ukraine. He visited Ukraine in secrecy last night for his own security, and that is where Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger is on the Poland side right now for us. Josh, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ken. This is the small village of Hrebenene in Poland, the northeastern part of Poland, and that is one of the smaller border crossings between Poland and Ukraine. And I actually think it's possible that one of those two vehicles there is carrying Cardinal Timothy Dolan. So we're going to stay on this picture right now and just see if they just pull in here. Cardinal Dolan has been here since late last week in the region. He was in Poland, and then he was in Slovakia meeting with humanitarian aid workers with connections to the Catholic Church and without connections to the Catholic Church. I think it's the second vehicle, the VW. He's been meeting with them. He's been meeting with refugees from Ukraine, and he's been getting a sense for the crisis that this part of the world is going through right now. This part of his trip was shrouded in secrecy for obvious security reasons, and here he is. So we'll let him park, and then hopefully we'll get to see him in a few minutes, but we'll walk down there with him. This part of the trip was shrouded in secrecy. He went over through a different crossing called Medica yesterday in the evening local time, and he spent the night in Lviv, and then this morning has been meeting with a lot of groups, leaders. I think he had 6 or 7 stops in Lviv, including the Catholic University, which was founded by an American and whose mission is to create democracies and democratic leaders and sort of mold them, people like Volodymyr Zelensky. And here he is.
You're doing a great job. Thank you. We saw the night this morning with Monsignor Mirtek.
We're going to let him speak right now with the local leadership here in this part of Poland, a group that he's been traveling with also, who are waiting for him to return from Ukraine. And I don't want to be rude, so I'm not going to interrupt this conversation, but he's had quite a few meetings with people here in Ukraine.
Glad you're here.
Eminence, it's nice to see you. We're live right now on Channel 7. Can I borrow you for a second?
I'm dead. After that journey, like you may be live.
All right, well, tell me, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back in Poland after Ukraine.
You were really looking to get into Ukraine.
We wanted to. I mean, not only symbolically, that we just wanted to be with the people, because as I've said from the beginning, Josh, we want to just let them know they're not alone, that the world hasn't forgotten them. We love them. We're praying with and for them. We want to help them. But for me to see firsthand what was going on. Now, as you guys reported, so the what shall I say, the bombs and the destruction haven't reached this end of Ukraine. You can see some warning signs, you can see a lot of checkpoints and a lot of soldiers. But so far, there's apprehension, but there's no destruction. They do have a lot of refugees there. See, so some people that didn't want to leave Ukraine but needed to leave the eastern part of the country are there. So we saw quite a few of those. Now there they call them, not refugees, but what do they call them? Internal displaced people.
Well, how do you, that's an interesting point, because the refugees who've been able to leave Ukraine are getting all this support here in Poland. What happens with the people who are displaced?
Interesting there. See, I was afraid of that too. They haven't forgotten them. And so they have a lot. Remember, were you with us yesterday when we saw that deposit where every day they bring a van? I don't know how they go through this every day, but every day they'll bring van loads of supplies that they ask for. They say they need it. We even today were at the Catholic University of Ukraine there in Lviv, and they had a whole area where there was supplies for the people. And so they seem to be taking care of that and planning for it. Our last stop, we visited an area that they're renovating. This is sad, but realistic. The anticipated orphans from the war. And so Monsignor Mirtek, who's the bishop there in Lviv, showed us, here's where we're building just a place for the orphans, because we know we're going to have them.
It's terrible. Yeah. What is it that you learned seeing Ukraine that you didn't know before?
Well, I'll tell you this, the resilience and the faith and the trust of the people. I saw a lot of people who were sad. I didn't see many who were depressed. I should check that. We saw one young man who I'll never forget, who was in a bombing raid and hasn't spoken since then. So the trauma there, one cannot minimize. But in general, the people were confident, they were hopeful, they were grateful for the help they got. And so that was uplifting for me. And there's also kind of a serene climate of we don't know what's coming, and we're realistic about it. But right now, we just need to trust and get on with life. That said a lot to me.
Cardinal Timothy Dolan.
Way to go.
Eminence, thank you so much.
What do Mets do?
I couldn't tell you. I'll try to find out. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Glad you're going to be with us.
We're here.
You're going to come a little bit. You know, he's the head of the Knights of Columbus.
Yes.
Here, and they're doing great.
I'm going to let you do your thing. Thank you, Eminence, very much. Nice meeting you.
Lviv.
Nice meeting you. So there you have it, Cardinal Timothy Dolan, back from Lviv. And he's now going to go in and meet with this sort of makeshift pop-up facility here that's affiliated with the Catholic Church, the Knights of Columbus, and Kanewa, which is a New York-based organization that has supported a lot of the work that the Catholic Church is doing here on the Ukraine border, mostly here in Poland, but also in Slovakia, where they were earlier. So as the Cardinal greets the entourage here waiting for him, we're going to send it back to you, but we're going to have a lot more from the Cardinal later on Eyewitness News at noon, and then later on in the day we have a lot more to tell you about involving an American group based in Connecticut that has been amassing supplies that have been sending across the border. We met them here on the ground, and the woman from the Upper East Side, a financial analyst who flew here with 32 pieces of checked luggage filled with supplies to send in to help people in Ukraine. We're going to have all that for you throughout the day on Eyewitness News at noon, and then later starting first at 4. But for now, we are live on the Poland-Ukraine border with the Cardinal. Josh Einiger, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Josh, thank you so much for that get. The fact that Cardinal Dolan risked his life to go to Lviv to witness the building of this building for orphans. I mean, we're so moved that we got to see this and that you got to speak to him. Thank you. We really appreciate your reports.
Amazing. All right.